Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, Coop's Place Crafts. This is Erin and I am on the little Craft With Me project share. What I'm going to work on today is teacher gifts. This is something that I've wanted to do for a while, so I figure it'd be perfect to make some of these for Cooper's teachers. He has one main teacher and two extra staff. It's a very small ratio. I think there's 5 kids in the room and 3 staff members, and then other members come in as needed. He is in a all autism special needs style school with a lot of one-to-one, and I love it. So let's go through what we're going to make today. I did send an email to the teacher with a little questionnaire. I asked about favorite candy, favorite beverage, whether it's coffee, tea, soda, favorite color, favorite restaurants, and did any of them have any allergies. Cooper's main teacher, he's had her for 3 years, and she's received quite a few of my little crafty projects, Scrabble trays, all the things. So I'm going new here. So I have their first initials. We have R, L, and G. All 3 different colors, green, blue, red. So I started with R, and here's what I'm going to make. I made one sample of it. So I did the little steno pad notebook, did the paper, and then I stamped an R on the pages with these Scrabble style stamps that I picked up. If you know, you know, I love my Scrabble. And then I made matching pens. So I will go through the supplies that you'll need to do this project, and then we will do one together. So you're going to need a legal pad. You can do any size, and they're all going to vary depending on the brand, like thickness and all of that. So I'm going to show you how I did it. There will be no specific measurements because each pad is going to be different. So you'll need some sort of a pad, big, small, whatever you decide. And then you're going to need the RSVP Pentel pads, and I will link all the supplies down below. If they're not the exact supply, I will get as close as I can, as some things might not be available. But you'll need the pens. I did pick up the multicolor because you do get a red, a blue, and a green. So I'm giving everybody one of each in their color. And then I'm also making the little mini composition books to match. I just thought it would be super cute. So these are ones that I picked up at the Dollar Tree, but I will link these down below as well. You'll need glue, a cutter of some sort. I'm using some clamps just to make sure it sticks good. I don't think you have to use clamps. And then if you are going to stamp a letter, some sort of a letter stamp. And I think, oh, I did use a corner rounder for the composition book, but you could easily trace it and cut it. I was surprised that it matched the corner like perfectly. I did a little tester. And then, you know, if you're going to stamp, you'll need an ink pad. It's always good to have a scissor, but I don't think that I used a scissor for this project. So let's go ahead and get started on this. So I went through my stash of paper and I found this beautiful green Maggie Holmes that I picked up at a thrifty craft store. Early on when I started YouTube, I entered a swap and the gal said she loves Maggie Holmes, and I went to the store and I found this paper and I'm like, oh, perfect. So I think I ended up finding like 5 or 6 sheets, and I really like it. This is the last of it, but I think it's just such a beautiful, beautiful paper. I love green too. It's Maggie Holmes Bloom Elise. Then I went through and picked out a couple other ones for the other colors. This one, I am not sure this is the one that I want, so I'm not gonna do the red, but I do love this blue for Elle. I've met all of these women, so I kind of know their little bit about their personality, and I think this one will be perfect for the staff member with the initial L. So let's go ahead and make one for her. So what I did, and this is my process, everybody can do, you know, like, I'm sure there's a better way. This is just what I did, and it worked. So I did not bring my pencil down, but I do have one. So when I trace, I like to just use a pencil so there's never any bleeding. So what I do is I come and I trace just the width of the piece like that. And then we're going to trim that out. I'm going to use this trimmer because this is the one that I prefer to use. So that's our width. And then I just kind of eyeballed it a little bit to see. I want to say I did, and like I said, every one is going to be different. And this one is not super critical, because if you go a little bit over, I think it'll be fine. You don't want to go too far over or it'll rip, but I believe I did 2.5 inches for this one. And what I do is I line up the front good, and then I don't really worry about the back because that's not going to rip off if you tear your paper. So how I did score these. So how I did the scoring is I lined this up good with the top front piece. And I flipped it over, got my pencil out, and that's my first score line. I like to use my little cutting track to score. Let me make sure that's in frame good. So I just kind of go through the line and do it gently twice with the little burnishing tool. And then I'll crease that. So that's our first line, and it lines up perfectly. Like I said, this is my process. I'm sure people are probably cringing like, what are you doing here? And then I kind of just like go to lay it down with the spine down, and of course, did my pencil roll away? It's kind of like when you're wrapping presents. Where did the tape go? I think it rolled underneath my, yep, there it is. So then I'm gonna do another line to get that other crease mark. I just want to have a nice crisp fold on that. So just like that, I made a little topper for the notebook. So I'm just going to do a little dry fit and make sure I don't need to trim anything off, and there it is, perfect. It fits in there nice. It's nice and crisp on those edges. So now I'm just going to glue it down. I love this art glitter glue. It does not have glitter. When I first heard about it from a friend, I'm like, I don't want glitter glue. She's like, it's not glitter. So I go in the track for the top first, just to give that a nice amount. And then whatever you're gonna do, you could use double-sided tape. I just really like this glue, and it hasn't given me any problems. I did receive a glue for free from scrapbook.com, and I tried using it this weekend, and I was like, nope. I did not like it. So then I'm just going to get it where I want it. And that's where these little clamps are going to come in handy. That way we know we're going to get a really good, whatever, I don't know, what's the word? A really good adhesion. I'm having a loss for words here. I think I need a sip of coffee. So I'll just let that sit while I work on cutting out the pen portion. Do a little sip of coffee. Okay. Let's do our pen here. I really like these pens as well. It's one of my preferred pens for writing. So you just take the cap off and pull out the ink and set it aside for now. So here's our piece of paper that we're going to use. And I just kind of do a little bit of an eyeball. You're going to kind of, you don't want to go, and it was, I overshot one of them, so there was a little bit sticking out, and I just literally snipped it, and it worked out perfectly. So I'm going to trim this down to size. And it looks like about 3.5 inches for these pens. And then I just kind of think I started with 1 inch for the inside, and if I need to trim it, I'm going to go ahead and cut the second one since I need 2 of them for 2 pens. So there we have our 2 pieces. And what I did is I used my pencil and just kind of started to roll it a little bit to get that circular and then just kind of fiddle with it until you get it round. You don't want to crease it because it will show up creased in the pen. But if you can get one end snug, let's see where we're at here. And then I just kind of work it in by pressing this together. And I think if you used a paper, it would probably be easier. This is a cardstock. It's not super heavy, but it's the print I wanted to use, so we're gonna make it work. The Maggie Holmes was a little thicker too, but I got it to work, so. And once it's in, it's in. Oh, it's a little too tight for me. I'm afraid it's gonna. Okay, so I think I know what's going on. I think I cut the first ones too wide. So 1 inch is too wide. We're gonna go with 3/4 of an inch and give that a try. Same thing, we're just going to try and get a light little roll out of this. Get a little curve in it. You can hear my furnace going off and on in this video. It is -7 degrees outside right now. It is, when I'm recording this, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. It got real cold last night. I don't often complain about the cold because my husband is a fuel hauler and he goes to work at 2 a.m. and so he literally delivers fuel to gas stations, and when he's unloading, he has to stand outside no matter what the temperature is. So I don't like to complain about the cold too much. Look at that. It's going in. Perfect. Bam. Got it. Okay. So 3/4 of an inch. And then you put your ink back in, and look at that. So cute. Love it. So with all crafting, sometimes a little trial and error. Okay, let's take our clips off. Beautiful. And this one, I'm not going to stamp all the letters, but I'm just going to show you a couple pages. I think it just adds a little extra. So I'm just going to go through and stamp an L in the corner, and I'll go through, I'll finish that after. So that's part 1. And then let's do a little composition book. And then, so this is just going to be a part of the teacher gifts. I'm going to make each teacher a little bundle like this, and then add in their candy that they like and a gift card for their restaurant that they picked on their questionnaire. So this one I'm doing the same way with my pencil. And I'm just tracing this line here so I can get that part. And I like to have a little bit of the black spine showing, so then I just kind of trace out. This is another one that doesn't have to be exact because you can cover up a little bit more or a little bit less of that front. Okay, so we have our 2 little pieces for our cover. Do a little dry fit, make sure they look good. Perfect. So then I'm gonna pop off my corners. I did buy a new corner punch and it's right there, but I just keep gravitating to this one I've had for 1,000 years. See how that just lines up perfect with the corners of that? I'm just going to add some glue to the front here. And then I like to add the glue to the edge right here. Perfect. And I'm just going to clip this just so it gets a good adhesion. Don't drop your glue. And then once that has a minute to dry, I'll flip it over and I will do the other side, and then I'll have a finished product just like this. And then I'll finish up the blue pen. So everybody's going to get a notebook, a mini notebook, and 2 pens for the paper portion of their gift. And then I will, like I said, I'll add some more things. And when I finish all of these items, I'll do a video on how I put all of their little teacher gifts together. So I hope you like this video. I will link the supplies I used down below. If you would give me a thumbs up, that would be awesome. And please comment with any questions. And as always, have a wonderful day.